You know what? I'm not entirely sure what's the difference between the old atheism and the new atheism. What I can't stand about these newer atheism guys is that they have this perception that Santa Claus isn't real, and so they try to go out of their way to disprove to others to not believe in Santa Claus. And so it never made sense to me. There was this guy who says that the atheists, they're dragging a dead body that they don't believe in. And that's kind of like my thing. My beef is just like, you guys don't believe this stuff, yet you guys don't seem to have peace. You guys rally together under conventions as if this was an organized event. You just don't have religion in it. You guys, and don't get me wrong, man. Don't get me wrong. When I hear people, I know I have a specific thing that's just like this. And it's kind of like, I guess I don't want to bring it up because it involves somebody that's pretty close. Um, but it hits home in that I feel like this pursuit, it has less to do with them not believing. This is kind of like progressive Christianity, but it has less of them not to believe with believing or not believing in a deity, God, in Christianity, whatever. And more so has to do with like them, a mourning process. That's how I feel. It's a mourning process of them having these preconceptions about this particular religion. And now that they don't have it anymore, they're mourning the time that they didn't get. This reminds me of a song called from Hill the Sun called is it Missed Injections? It's not Missed Injections. It is Falling on Deaf Ears. I always remember because of ears. Falling on Deaf Ears. And so it's kind of like that, Our God, are you listening? Are you careful? People call for what you need. What if you're not real? And we're wasting all the precious time we have for worship that we're getting nothing back. Yeah. I like it because it is such a energetic song. It has so much feeling to it. And I love that band because now that new stuff about what is it? Divine something. I forget. It's something. I can't remember. But if I were to describe, I think that person still has a disdain. I think his name's Donnie, but I think he has such a disdain for religion, and to a point, I don't like certain aspects of the Christian faith myself, and this has less to do with the religion itself, and more so to do with man's projections of its negative self, kind of slipped in. I don't like that myself. I'm like, you can't fool me. I read my scriptures a lot. So you can sit here and say, well, I'm your pastor and I'm supposed. I remember there was a guy, again, I'm kind of speaking a little too close, but hopefully this person doesn't see it. The person was like very adamant that I call him a certain title. And the dude, I didn't understand it, at least for me, because I'm like, well, I read my Bible and it's not really a requirement for me to do it. He was very adamant. So I started doing it, but I didn't do it so much because he was right, but I did it because it was a loving thing to do. Ooh, sorry, that's starting to hurt my ears. But it was a loving thing to do. And so love is a powerful thing. Unfortunately, in Christianity, we don't really, how can I describe this in a way that's not going to be very hurtful? We fail people, we don't check our blind spots, and we use Christianity, or rather the Christianese, the religion aspect of Christianity, to hide behind it. Instead of be honest and just say, hey, I have this particular thing. I have questions. I don't know why this happened and why God didn't do anything. I think we don't ask honest questions, especially to God. We take our questions and we go home. And I hate the idea that I'm saying it like that. I don't want to disrespect people's feelings, but I don't think we wrestle with God and say, hey, I have to be completely honest with you. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like this, like, for instance, the prayers of David, like in some of the Psalms. I haven't read all the Psalms. Kind of crazy, right? But like, they're honest. They say, hey, God, life is just not working out. What's going on? Now, with Job, he didn't curse God, but he had a lot of questions. He said, "Yo, why is this happening to me? I'm not. I'm doing all the best I can. Why is my life is life happening to me like this?" And since we understand the context, is just like, well, God is dealing with the devil in a upper place, and he's trying to teach Satan, the accuser, the person that's trying to talk to. Again, if you're an atheist, you probably already know this. Like, if you're ex-Christian, but it's the idea that, like, hey, um, the idea is, is that God is working with, he's working, doing things that just kind of beyond our understanding, and that we're better off just not, kind of not. I mean, I guess we can question it, but we're better off not, like, how can I describe this? Being so entitled with what happens in our lives. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand from that perspective. He was like, oh, well, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. And he was, I guess. Yeah, he was. He was doing animal sacrifices. And he was doing it to the point where he was like, and I guess this is the interesting aspect of the doubter. And maybe not the doubter, but the person who just got questions, is that, like, yo, you do everything you think you're supposed to do. You promote your religion, and you do a little more so just in case. And that's what he did. He was a stellar religious person. And don't get me wrong, I like to think he did what he was supposed to, but bad things still happened to him. So, and as much as the bad things, he didn't have control over those things, the good things, he didn't have control over those things. And that's not so much to make a Christian feel better, but it's more so just to have an understanding that sometimes God is working with stuff that we just can't really understand. And even if we did, like, just think about that. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and they said, hey, what's the meaning of life? I don't understand it. What's the meaning of life? And they're looking for a profound answer. And 42. What? All right, that's it. All right, I'll see you later. It's like, sometimes even, like, let's say we get we ask for the most profound question, and I think part of that is just like we have expectations. Like, yo, what is the greatest thing, God? And that's not that. I want to be careful, because I want to say, hey, I respect the fact that, like, people are wondering. They want to know, hey, what's the stuff? What's our main pursuit? But I mean, I hate to say it because it's gonna be kind of corny, but I think love is kind of like the biggest pursuit we could pursue. They say God is love, and don't get me wrong, like, I mean, I'm still thinking about it because it gives me questions. Like, stuff happens. Life is unfortunate. We have a lot of questions, but I think aspects of love, I think aspects of hope, just that unwavering hope, not being so, like, hard-nosed and critical. There's some stuff, there's still questions I do have a tendency to ask, but I do think that even God himself he kept my faith. I just don't view it like, just because, ironically, I just had a comment by Satan's Guide where he says, hey, yeah, there's Christians who, they kind of want to beat people academically, or they treat Christianity like they treat a PhD or academic citation. And it's like, I mean, I guess, but, like, I don't think Christianity is meant to be debated like that. Like, this involves the complexity of our lives. So I get it, or I'm trying to understand, but I don't have a binary view of God in that perspective. I think things happen, and they do require questions. And I say, bring your questions to God. I know that sounds corny, but I mean, I guess I don't care with that one. Bring your questions to God. Bring your frustrations to God. Why is this happening? Why, I've had plenty of questions where I asked it, and I felt like I got an answer. I wondered to myself, yo, like, life really is terrible. Why, And then Christianity, in the same ways that all the things, the traumas and stuff that happened in my life and the lies I believed, which is another interesting aspect, is like lies, man. Like, I believe so many lies. preconceptions, misconceptions. Humans letting me down of every flavor, letting me down. Even quote unquote Christians, not even trying to be loving, but leaning on their own human preconceptions about me because of one way or another that probably likely didn't have anything to do with me, but someone who looked like me. But yeah, it's just questions I got. So, my bad. Going back to this whole 42 question, this profound, this searching for profundity in our human existence. For one, humans, if I can speak less of an absolutist, I guess if I'm thinking, how can I really describe this? I don't want to say it in a weird way. An objective view of human significance is that it's kind of insignificant. If you understand what that means, a lot of things happen to us. A lot of things. And humans, they just disappear. You know, you can talk to some, like for instance, if you've seen like Hacksaw Ridge, the guy's talking to him one moment, the next moment the guy's gone. He's finished. He's done. And it's crazy because there's no warning, there's no preparation, there's no answers given. He's just gone. And that's just human stuff. That's human operation. I'm sorry. I gotta stop deviating. But he's gone. You know, people drown, and they're gone. And what gives them human significance? What gives these humans significance? Us, the ones that are alive, the ones who cry out, the ones who show our love, the love of these people's remains. And they say, this person who was just alive and animating is now reduced to an object. The thing that gave them life doesn't give them life anymore because whatever circumstances took that spark of life from them. And so we have a lot of questions and we wrestle with the divine. How could this happen? Why did they die in this way? Why was their lives taken? And even so, we still know that all of us is going to meet that same fate. If not now, then later, you know? And so I guess as Christianity describes it, we have eternity set in our hearts. Death is just not something we truly understand. We don't get it. People die and we still wonder, dang, why is this happening? You know, we suffer. And ironically, I'm trying to think about it. We suffer, and yet pain is a helpful aspect about us to help us understand to survive the environment. You know, if we didn't have pain receptors, we would hurt ourselves a lot more. You know, so this is part of my issue with the atheist argument. Maybe it's the new atheist. Is that they have a very binary view of the world. They say God has to do this, and if he doesn't, then he's not good, or he's not real, or he's not this. So here's one aspect of pain, and it's probably, maybe you've heard it before. An aspect of pain, you kind of need it, to a point. Another thing is, too much comfort is not good for you. That bacon double cheeseburger supreme deluxe is kind of killing you. It's delicious though. It tastes great. And having a food coma is pretty dang exciting. You just nap out and you're done. You give you a few hours, you woke up, kind of feel like crap, but like, you know, that was a good experience. Some of this, the same stuff we value, we hold close, might not be the same stuff that's helping us. Our entertainment and media, we like the concept of drama and tension, but this stuff is now being manufactured. Human progress have developed is what's also included in that, in addition to hospitals and cities and railroads and stuff like that, is social media. The same ambitions of human beings of making us quote unquote better is kind of harming us. It's too good. There's porn. We say, oh well, I mean, not everybody's getting any. Well, okay, let's simulate a process of intercourse. Now they're addicted to it. Uh, Social media. Well, we need people to connect to each other better. So, we set up social media. Well, it's too good. Now they're lonelier than ever. Food. Well, we used to be really, really, really starving out here, and so we need to make the industrial revolution, and now we can make like feed the world 10 times over with the products we make. Yet not only are we still broke, I mean, we're starving. You still have people out here starving. We still have people who are excessively obese. We hoard resources. A lot of that stuff has zero to do with God. You ever? I mean, you think that? I think that's kind of ironic. Not, like a lot of these man-made disasters have zero to do with God. Um, Now another thing is intellect, the human intellect. I'm a believer that the human intellect which is kind of in some degree reminiscent of the Enlightenment era, is a gift of God given to man. And I mean, we won according to the Garden of Eden. I get it; it doesn't matter to you, but the story has to do with mankind not fully trusting God. And I get it's the first thing He told us to do, and we was like. But it wasn't like out of nowhere, it was temptation. So the third option, or no, the second option popped up, and it said, hey, why don't you try to be like him, in that way? And the thing is, we kind of already were like him, but he's like, hey, what if you did this thing that he told you not to do, and now you can be like him? Now we gain intelligence for ourselves. Instead of leaning on the intelligence of God, a better way to live life. And it's not just religion, but it's like just like what's the most loving thing to do? And I think that's kind of like if we were to pursue the highest good, or the highest the meaning of life, pursuing the highest good. I think that could be it. Love is the strongest thing ever. And how do you attribute love to humanity? You use it with wisdom, cognitive understanding. And another thing is, you don't let that understanding go beyond human human limitations. Because what's a world full of robots? What's a world full of AI? It's not humans. It's just like a robot. He said, well, look at the little girl and the old man, who's more valuable? You tell me who's more valuable. Is it the old, like it's like long standing what is it? What do you call it? Is it utilization? No. Utilitarianism? It could be that. But pretty much like if you had two people on a railroad, it was like five people versus one person. Who's more valuable? Is it the five people or the one person? Okay, what if the one person has a PhD and it's just five coal miners? Who's more important? It's just like hard to say. I don't know. And I'm not. It's hard to say, man. I guess for me, and I'm not saying this lightly. I just have a trust with God that hey, I'm gonna do the most loving thing I can do. I trust God that in the grand scheme of things and the connection of things that it's gonna work out. Not so much work out, but just like God is gonna work things through, and I just want to do my part in it. I can't. I'm not believing that I can convince the average atheist, because I think to some degree, their minds are not flexible enough to consider things beyond what they can see. And to some degree, I empathize because they lived a life that wasn't that, and maybe even they didn't even tackle maybe they had absolute faith, and they still had questions gnawing at them, but they just like, no, I'm gonna just have faith, and then I'm gonna beat these atheists and the evil guys, and I'm gonna do it for God. And then when they realize like all these complexities of life, they're like, dang, wow, that That's crazy. And my previous preconceptions about the world has to drop off. And so I'm going to make sure nobody loses, waste their time with this stuff called religion when it could be just focusing on better things. And honestly, how I feel about that as a Bible believer, I agree. Religion, all the unnecessary stuff of religion kind of has to be burned off, man. Mind you, if you understand the Bible, it says he has, in the end, all the stuff that doesn't produce fruit, all the stuff that doesn't produce any meaningful behavior or action, especially in regards to the institution of organized religion, gotta be burned off. And he says the true stuff remains. The stuff that really matters remains. It even says it for those who are out here roaming around, yet they know better. You know, the thing that's gonna be left off them is the smoke. So, it's just, yeah. What matters is gonna remain. Human legacy, stuff that matters. I mean, maybe not, because the way social media is going, we don't know. But faith matters a lot to me, man. And my intellect matters a lot to me. And my Christianity matters a lot to me. And I apologize for people who wasted your time. That's what I can say. I apologize for the Christian religion, with people who didn't fix their baggage, their past traumas and questions they had in therapy. I want to apologize for them. I mean, for that, because there's people who failed you. There's people out here in the church who are doing so much damage and just hiding behind religion. That's something I want to apologize for as just a regular Christian, but still apologize for, because that's not God's heart. And I understand. I can guess from the Christian perspective, they're like, yo, I wish God would smite them. Life is just complicated, man. In the same way, God has a lot of kind of ironic, but God has a lot of patience with people. That includes evil. But that doesn't mean that God can't use wickedness for good. Now, I don't mean that to say that lightly. And I don't mean to say that in a oh, let me just mend your wounds. No. All that evil that's in these organized religions, such as pastors, priests, and etc., and those who are committing diddling on kids, beating people, that pastor who looks really righteous but beats on his family, the person who I don't know, who suppresses women in an inappropriate way, unleavened things from the church, people who don't show the love of God, people who don't show transformed lives and just are worse people who just happen to be in the church. I'm sorry, and my apologies, and individual persons apologies, it ain't enough. So I wish, I just, what I can hope. I hope people, I'm sorry, this is rambling. I'm like 20 minutes in. If you got this far, I appreciate it. But you got to be for like 20 minutes. So take your concerns to God. And I really do mean it. If you're an atheist and you just feel like, I just don't understand why my life is like I just don't get it, And I think that's okay. I think that's okay. To tell God, I don't get it. What's going on? I don't understand why life is like this. I don't understand why. How did I get here? Just be honest. I really just encourage people to do that. Just tell them you don't know. In the same way a scientist really rests and I don't know, tell a Christian, I don't get it. I don't understand. I still try to pursue my life as best I can in the most loving and most intellectual and cognitive way, but I don't get it. There's so many questions I got. Do give God your questions. That's all I'm asking. Give God your questions. You're treating us, random Christians, as stand-ins for God. And I get it, because I've been hurt by people at the church. But give your questions to God. Just humans are going to human. But God, you give God those God questions. Because many of us might fail you still. I might fail you still because I'm still human and I still got blind spots. And I'm still trying to be perfected and renewed and be better. So I probably may not always be, I may not be that person you need to hear that apology. But I say, tell God your concerns. Tell God your concerns. I'm sure I believe he wants to hear you. I believe he wants to hear everything you have to say. I don't want to sit here and assume for you what you feel, but I do think he wants to hear from you. So, ironic I got the Chick-fil-A show. I won it from a raffle, guys. It's not like man, I'm raffle them because you're Christian. I mean, sort of, but like, they got chicken sandwiches. That's all I can say. I like their chicken sandwiches. And also I had a free card for about a year, so I'm sorry, guys. I mean, this is just ironic. That's all I'm saying. It's ironic. But there's no way I can kind of sign this off. I'm not very classy in that way. So that's what I got. Dude, if who knows what's gonna happen in that comment section? Oh my gosh, but I don't know. I may not have all your answers. Keep got your questions. Okay.